heroin.
Should I get the right syringe for the right client?
97% pure, better than anything sold on the street.
It's placed on there for the client. That's it.
And the British government is giving it to addicts for free in an effort to make them drug-free.
So this is pure stuff, this is clinical stuff, this is a clinical procedure, and this is medication.
A safe, steady supply of heroin is apparently just what the doctor ordered. A recent study suggests it's working, reducing the use of street heroin by 3/4 and the crimes committed in trying to get that drug by 2/3. The reduction in crime mirrors results in a handful of other countries, but the treatment is expensive, about $22,000 per patient per year. But in Britain, they are coming to terms with the fact that keeping a person in prison costs almost 3 times more. And so, if the encouraging results continue, Britain could one day set up permanent clinics around the country dispensing heroin for its most hard-to-treat addicts.
Driving that train, high on cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your
So the psycho-liberal socialists in Britain are now giving out heroin, 97% pure, becoming a, never mind government medicine, a government drug dealer now for heroin to junkies. They're called patients in England. A junkie is now a patient. You see, what they want to do is medicalize you. That's why everywhere you turn, you're hearing medical this, medical that, healthcare reform, healthcare that. It's an attempt to ensnare you in government control. And if you think I'm making it up, wait till you hear this story. You're not going to believe this, but I'm going to give it to you. The health care bill approved Tuesday by the so-called Senate Finance Committee assures that you will get health insurance at the DMV. It's in the bill. It will enable you to get health insurance at the Department of Motor Vehicles. The DMV, I've long called the Department of Mexican Voters here in the state of California, because that is where, of course, the motor voter law was enacted by Janet Reno, the Attorney General under Bill Clinton. DMV will now give you health insurance if this phenomenal scam takes hold. Now you say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, let me ask you something. What does a motor vehicle bureau have to do with health care? Nothing other than centralizing power in the hands of Obama. You understand that? You will get health insurance at the DMV. It's in the actual bill itself. The FCC commissioner says diversity chief's ideas for regulating free speech are troubling. Hillary Clinton went to Russia, and she didn't get love. You may have heard the story, from Russia with love. She came back from Russia with nothing. Instead, she opened up our nuclear facilities to the Russian military for the first time since World War II, since we've had nuclear weapons. Hillary Clinton gave everything and got nothing. That's the Secretary of State for Obama. Russia gave no ground on sanctions against Iran, but they got a right to visit all of our nuclear arsenals wherever they may be. Ladies and gentlemen, which side are they working for? Does anyone have an answer to that question? Which side are they working for? 1-800-449-8255. 1-800-449-8255 is the phone number, michaelsavage.com. If you think that's maddening, here's another one. A worker in a small grocery store in England who was singing in her store was told to stop singing by the government music police or pay for a performing arts license. Music police have told the grandmother to stop singing behind the counter of the corner shop where she works or pay for a license. Sandra Burt began serenading customers at the A&T food store in England, and then the Performing Rights Society contacted them and said the store would have to pay an £80 annual fee to keep the radio on in the shop. And now the 56-year-old woman doesn't have the money to play the radio and pay for a performance of these songs, so she sings, songs that she likes, anyone from the Rolling Stones to other groups. And now the government has come in and the music police have said, stop singing in your store. You're going to have to pay for it. You're giving daily performances, and you're going to have to pay for this. The clerk, Mrs. Bird, is a Rolling Stones fan, said she was shocked by the attitude of the British government, the PRS. She said, I come from a very musical family. They'd have to put a tape over my mouth to stop me singing these songs, even if they threaten to take me to court. I don't think I could stop singing. I'm just a naturally happy person. So now you understand that Orwell's 1984, Huxley's Brave New World, is alive and well in the takeover of human freedoms in England under the socialist labor government, friends of Barack Hussein Obama, who's on the exact same road here in America. Not immediately, because, after all, if you want to make an omelet, you've got to break a few eggs. And Obama is breaking one cultural egg after another, one economic egg after another, and making a giant omelet in the form of, well, let us say, socialism, anyone? Why is the White House attacking Fox News? Answer, because they're the only network who is standing up to Obama. The fact of the matter is Fox News has not been kind to Michael Savage, but as I said to you yesterday on this show, the principle is bigger than the individuals involved, and we now have to join forces. Whether they choose to join on my behalf is not my problem, it's their problem. 1-800-449-8255, Mobile, Alabama. Patrick, go ahead, please. What's on your mind?
Hey, Dr. Savage, how you doing? I just want to say I can't understand what our government's turned into a joke with this Russia thing. We're giving access to our nuclear weapons, get nothing in return. I'm with you. I don't understand who they're working for. They're working for us.
That's right. What side is Hillary Clinton on? People have long said she was a Leninist. They thought that she gave it up because she became rich because Bill Clinton made so much money and makes so much money. They thought she had moderated her positions. How in the world could a Secretary of State agree to permit the Russian military to come here and go into every one of our nuclear facilities and get nothing in return? How is that possible?
I'm with you. I have no idea. It's absolutely crazy. We've lost the whole aspect of what we stand for as a country.
Do you think that the Nobel Peace Prize should be seen as an attempt to steer U.S. policies? And do you think that that Peace Prize was part of a conspiracy of the international socialists to tell Hillary Clinton to sort of denuclear America, in other words, denude America of its nuclear arsenal by opening it up to the Russians, for example? Iran, after all, is getting away with building nuclear weapons. The U.S. is not even going to impose sanctions on them.
It's crazy. I think they're definitely getting something out of it because we're definitely not getting anything out of it as a people or a country. Somebody's going to be getting something out of it because they're definitely not working for us.
Thank you for the call. Well, Professor William Jacobson at the Cornell Law School said this: the internationalists have tied Obama's hands. This Peace Prize was given to Obama in order to manipulate our policies and national security decisions, and I think it will work, at least until the next presidential election. The next presidential election? You mean in 50 years? I'll be right back.
Savage.
That the threats in the future come from countries and terrorists who are not responsible stewards of the enormous power of destruction that nuclear weapons represent. They may not even be deterrable. Remember, during the worst of the Cold War, the United States and then the Soviet Union, we never stopped talking about nuclear arms. We never stopped communicating. We might have gotten, too close to the line, but we always pulled back. And we kept the world from suffering from such terrible weapons.
Does anyone understand a word that she just said? She's not as smart as she sounds. This is another glib socialist who has had handlers, teleprompters, and a tremendous will to foist her will upon the American people. But Hillary Clinton has just done an extremely dangerous thing, in my opinion, which is she has agreed to permit Russian generals and technicians to come to the United States of America and snoop around every one of our nuclear installations. Does that make sense to anyone listening to this show? Does anyone think that that would make sense? Maybe I'm missing something here. I'm waking up to a nightmare every day. Every day it gets worse by the day. It seems as though every day is worse than the day that preceded it. Why would she open up our nuclear arsenals to inspection by the Russians and get nothing in return? I'm asking a simple question. Forget my politics. Forget where I'm coming from. Forget that you hate me, if you hate me. Can anyone explain to me what sense this makes when no previous administration history, including her husband's, would have ever permitted such a thing? Why would she open up our nuclear arsenals to inspection by the Russians? I got to tell you something else. I think this country is totally insane under Obama. The entire government apparatus is out of control.